everybody. It's Craig Wispin Storyteller here, and I hope you are well. Well, it's the end of the month, the end of July, or the last week of the end of July. And as usual, I'm going to do my monthly ramble and just chat, as I always do at the end of every month, about life in general, what's been happening and what's occurring. And of course, this is unscripted, completely natural and unedited, unless there's a loud noise that occurs, like my dog decides to bark or Alexa decides to give an alert. So anyway, how are you? How are you doing? To all my wonderful subscribers out there, I hope you have had a fantastic summer so far. So here in the UK, our schools have just kind of finished and broke for the summer period, and so now there's literally kids everywhere all the time, no school, so a lot of families are going on holidays now, and all the prices kind of go up in scale. It's the usual summer fare. I've had my holiday this year. I had a holiday in early June. Any of my regular subscribers will hear all about that in a previous video I did for June. So I am kind of done when it comes to holidays. But I do have some time off booked for later in the year. But anyway, so today we're just going to talk about the month of July, and of course, I always kind of start just running through what's been happening, what's on my mind. I do know that the last couple of months have been a little bit late, I think due to the holiday, which meant I was finishing work, getting straight on the plane, and then kind of catching up with myself when I got back. So I think that the rambles were a little bit out of sync, but this is the first time I'm actually back on track with the end of the month. So as a result, there might be a kind of a crossover where I mention things that I've already covered in a previous video, if that all makes sense. So anyway, as always, it is a nice relaxing Saturday morning. I usually do these on a Sunday morning, but I decided to do them on Saturday this week because I had just a little bit of time, and I'm going out tomorrow to see my good friend. It just gives me a little bit of space tomorrow, and I get ahead of things. And the great thing is, these rambles need minimal editing. They pretty much get them out as they are, rough and ready, as they say. So a few things on my mind for this month, and of course, let me know how you're getting on. I do love to hear from you, and I always end by just having a read through a couple of comments that I've had this month at random. So first things first, the big news of this month is, drumroll, I've got a new job. So you might remember I have started a new job last year, last March. So if you look at my rambles every month, you'll know that I did start a new job last March, and I know I've had periods of unhappiness. Again, I've discussed my mental health at great length, usually just to process things about trying to understand how I feel the way I do. But I went through a little bit of a tough time over the winter period, and you were great. Thank you so much. You were all ears, and that's kind of what I needed at that point. But I applied for a job. Now, when I was on holiday in Cyprus, I was lying on a sun lounger. My and I noticed that there was a job advert for a place where I used to work many, many years ago. I worked there for 18 years, but I saw an advert for a job in this place. Now, I was made redundant from this place back in 2019. This was when I was on the hiatus. If you remember, I left YouTube in 2014 and came back in 2020. So this kind of took place during that hiatus period. So I was made redundant, and I left, took a year out. COVID landed, and I just went from job to job to job to job. Very, very transient period where I just never felt comfortable, and always seemed to be searching for something that I didn't know what it was. I went to, and I can mention these names, I went to Amazon, I went to a DIY store, I went to my current job, I even worked in a cinema for a little bit, just trying to find my groove, and I never quite found it, for whatever reason. But I decided to reapply for the place that I was with for nearly 20 years, bearing in mind this is a completely different role altogether, and the place that I worked at is now completely transformed. There is literally nothing that connects it to the place I worked at for so long, and the job I did was more kind of comsy stuff, which I do now. So it was more videos, podcasts, supporting events happening in the workplace. But this job is back working with customers, and it involves me speaking to customers in a video setting, so kind of like what I'm doing now, I guess, speaking to people on video link and helping them with a query. So I had to think long and hard, so I went for the interview. It was on video, the interview, and I was really pleased with it. I think I did okay. I had plenty of questions, I had plenty of things to say. There wasn't a dull moment at all. But then afterwards I found out that I had got the job. I had been accepted, which was amazing. But then I had to decide if I wanted to leave my current job or not. Because when something is presented in real terms, that's when you make the decision. So my dog is kind of up and down at the moment. So that's when you need to make the decision, when the reality is there. So we sat down, and I got a lot of blank A4 pieces of paper. And this is something I always do when I can't decide on something. I just need to get out of my head and kind of look at the logical perspective. So I look at things like pay, hours, annual leave, benefits, culture, can't remember what else offhand, but these are all kind of really fundamental areas that we all need to consider when we looking at a job offer. So I do 3 pros and cons in each area, and then do a final kind of overall winner in that section. And it's something I've done a few times now over the years. So I decided I'm going to accept the job. I've now officially resigned from my current job, which it's bittersweet because I've got a great relationship with my co-workers. I kind of enjoy the job, but it's just so relentlessly busy. I never feel like I am on top of things. If anything, it's like, what can I park and look at tomorrow? It's a constantly evolving and endless to-do list. The new job is going to be more sedate and more in the moment. But that's good YouTube because I'm probably not going to be feeling too overwhelmed and tired. So it's good news for my creativity because this is a job that you just end when your hours are up. You close down, shut the laptop, and that is it, you're done. With this job, I've already been on this morning on Saturday just trying to catch up with things that I need to do, and that isn't where I want to be. So I'm going back. I decided I handed in my resignation, and I've now got a 4-week notice period, and I start my new job on the 8th of September, sorry. So that changes things drastically. So I am thinking about just life in general, just easing down and having more time to do the things I really love doing, which is being creative. The day job, again, like I said, it's something I can just park at the end of my shift and I don't have to think about it anymore until the next day. So handing in my notice was very bittersweet. Again, I've got the uppermost respect for my colleagues. It's really sad, it's heartbreaking to be leaving, but I have had a few tough times there. But I also do want to make sure that I just start to relax back into a role long term and not keep searching for something that doesn't exist. Now this job is going to be shift work, so I'm either going to be 9-5, 10-6, 11-7 or 12-8. Now the 12-8 is great news for me because it means that I can make videos on a morning before I start, because I've always got a lot more energy, creative energy on a morning rather than on a night. So I can do recordings one day and edit another day, so I do believe that I'll be very productive on the 12-8 shift. So I think that's good news for that. So there you go, just to kind of go back on that. I've got a new job. I start on the 8th of September, which is a Monday, and yeah, it all came very quickly and fast, and I just hope it's the right decision. It feels the right decision, but logically, yeah, I'm a questioner. I'm always a questioner about what if, but I'm doing it. I've decided to do it, and I'm going back to the place I worked for 18 years, to the very day, when I got made redundant. It was 18 years to the very day that I started. How unreal is that? Some of my old colleagues will be there, but I am fully aware that it is a completely different guise I'm returning back as. I was always known as Craig, the guy with the camera, or the guy with the microphone. That won't be the case now. It is Craig, the person who does customer service. So there's my big news for the month of July. Big news, but on the other front, not a great deal has been happening. I went on a firing range. Well, it wasn't really a firing range. I think I might have mentioned it in the last catch-up. But we went to this arcade place, where we fired guns, and it was zombies, that kind of thing. I know I've covered it, but that's the only kind of social thing I've done of any real significance. The other thing is my health. Now, a few weeks ago I went for a blood test, and it revealed I've got high cholesterol. Again, I may have already mentioned this in a previous video, and I do apologise if I am repeating myself, but I was told to go on statins. I don't want to go on statins. I'm not refusing to go on statins, but I just want to see if I can do something about it naturally. So I've cut down on dairy I'm now eating bran flakes with chia seeds and almond milk on a morning. I'm drinking the Bengal yogurts, which are for to lower cholesterol. I've replaced my butter and margarine spreads with plant-based ones. So the dairy's kind of been cut out quite extensively. Alcohol, I'm now down to no more than 3 or 4 beers a week, and that is on a weekend. I don't drink any other time, apart from maybe a Friday or a Saturday. I do love a nice cold beer, that's my thing. I'm not bothered about wine, I'm not bothered about spirits and vodkas and all of that jazz. I just like a nice cold beer. So I'm limiting myself to 3 to 4 a week. I'm going to the gym every day. Now at the minute I'm just doing cardio. So this is the Japanese walking that I mentioned in the previous videos. I do 3 minutes really fast brisk walk, 3 minutes slow. The weight is falling off me at the moment. I'm down to 13 stone and I was 15 stone. And my US friends do it in kilos or pounds, but we do it in stone here in the UK. So what is that in pounds? So I am about 182 pounds. That's kind of 13 stone. 182 pounds, which is not bad for my weight. My target would be just to lose another half a stone. So I would like to just be a little bit lighter, and again it's more my midriff, the belly if you like, that I just need to lose it from, and cutting out beer and carbs. You know, I'm not eating as many potatoes. I'm switching to sweet potatoes, but last night, I had a pizza last night. So it doesn't all have to be, so strict. You can have treats, but just in moderation, because everything is okay in moderation, right? And, I'm having a good time with it. I'm listening to a really cool podcast at the moment, so my times in the gym are listening to an episode of that. 2 great guys called Two Guys and a Chainsaw. They talk about horror and science fiction movies, and it's good fun. They're 2 really good personalities. I recommend that podcast if you do like the kind of movies that I like. Not everybody does though, I know. But I love listening to that, so it's a daily ritual now. So I go Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday and Friday 5 times a week every morning, because my job is sedentary. I'm sat at a laptop. I get, nearly 5,000 steps in before I even start work on a morning. But I do know I need to work in other areas of my body, my upper. But I am going to incorporate some more upper work, body work, and I'm going to reintroduce swimming midweek. So being active is absolutely vital to my well-being. I've realised that, and I'm future-proofing myself for the winter. Now, I know I always struggle in the winter, especially January, February, March. Really tough months for me. They are every year. It's been spoken about quite extensively on my rambles. But I'm going to be keeping up this regular exercise even in those tough times. But it is hard to get yourself out of bed in the pitch dark and walk to the gym. Freezing cold, raining, wet, snowing, whatever. I know there are going to be challenges. But somebody said to me, a great tip is, even if someday you're not feeling it, get up and go to the gym and do 10 minutes. Even if you do 3 press-ups instead of 50, the often think while you are there you might as well try and do something, because you always feel better afterwards. So I'm going to try and keep that in place, and if you're like me, struggle in those dark periods, we can support each other. You can support me and I'll support you. We can get to grips with this sadness that we feel in the winter. Yeah, I'm just equipping myself because it's great at the moment. It's daylight at 5 a.m, even earlier, and it doesn't get dark till around, after 10 here in the UK at the moment. We've already had the longest day, so we're slowly kind of starting to creep back to the shorter days. But it's not quite here yet. It's still July, right? Well, almost the end of July. So that is my health. So I need to go for another blood test. I think it's next week, to check my cholesterol levels in the month since I had my last reading. So I just hope they have come down. They've increased my blood pressure medication. Now I need to be careful because my potassium levels rose the last time they did that. So let's see how we get on. And yeah, that is pretty much me at the moment. My good friend is also asking me to start doing another movie script, or a TV script, sorry. We're looking at adapting one of my ideas into a 4-part limited series. It's a drama, and I've never written for TV before. It's always been for more of a movie or a short film, but never for a limited series. So I've got a 4-part series I'm trying to adapt. And having a collaborator is really key because we can support each other with that project. But I have rambled enough. Let's have a read of a couple of people's comments on my phone. Let's have a look-see and see what we have. Okay, so again I'm just going to look at these randomly. So, okay, a couple of ones that went out recently were the Jaws ones, and you can see my Jaws things there. I absolutely love them. So I did the unboxing of Quint and Hooper, and let's have a look and see what some of your comments were on that one. So Enter John 94 said NECA is one of the best for collectibles. I have the Halloween figures they've done. I recommend them. Brilliant, I do too. Now I've also got some other NECA figures. I've got an E.T. Oops, yeah, up there. I don't think you can quite see them. I've got an E.T. and I've got a Creature from the Black Lagoon NECA. They haven't been opened. Shall I open them? Shall we open them together and see how they look? And I can put them on display with my Jaws ones. So thanks for that, Enter John 94. Now 8th Arrow Whispering, who is a fantastic guy, and he's got an amazing channel that I love to watch. He's big into movies too. Yeah, a big call out to you, my friend. But 8th Arrow Whispering said, just went back and rewatched Jaws. It still holds up and it's such a good film. I agree with you that Hooper is my favourite in the film. Thank you. Somebody else thinks exactly the same as me. That is great news. Thank you so much for that, and all the best with your great channel, 8th Arrow Whispering. Well recommended. Let's have a look at the last ramble. So I had a few comments there. So Norm 4915, great video made. How much holiday time do you get in the UK? It sounds amazing. I'm in the States. I'm an emergency room nurse. I get 8 vacation vacation days in the whole year I have to earn, and six sick days. Have I mentioned this before? But I find it absolutely astonishing the difference between the UK and the US. So we get quite a lot of holidays. We get like 28 days plus so many bank holidays. But 8 days is really tough. Wow. I can't even comprehend that. Yeah, how do you feel about hearing about Europe and the UK having so many holidays? I mean, the UK hasn't even got the highest rate of holidays. I think it's somewhere like Denmark. Correct me if I'm wrong, has got the most holidays. Or is it some of the Middle East countries? I'm not sure. But yeah, it's a tough one, that is. And I take my hat off for just managing to get through 8 days a year and 6 sick days. So if you are sick in the UK, generally, not always, but you are protected with so many weeks of sick pay. So I think in my current job it's 6 months full pay, then it goes down to half pay, and then statutory sick pay. But in the US, am I right in saying you only get 6 days and that's it? What happens if you are ill? Really ill? Do you need to get a doctor's note? Sorry about my ignorance, I've just got no idea, but if you could let me know, that would be great. But thanks for the message, Norm, 4915. Really appreciate that. Back on the Jaws, last week I unboxed the big shark figure, and I got quite a few comments there. Let's have a look to see some of the other ones. Jake B93 here said he loves the content and the audio is outstanding. Now with the lo-fi videos, like kind of this one, I just don't try to make it clean. I just have the hiss, the background hiss, and it seems to work for that kind of ASMR, unboxing, etc. But I'm glad that you like it. I really am. The whispering reminds me of the He-Man video, which I love. Thanks again. Yeah, the He-Man video, the Memory Stone. I do remember doing that video a few years ago now. I'm so pleased that you still listen to that. Another one is, let's have a look. EL West 1000 said, I laugh my ass off. We had this game when I was a kid. We loved it. Yeah, the original Jaws game wasn't as fancy looking, I must admit, but it was very practical. And some people have reported that the gameplay is actually a lot better than the new one. I mean, the Jaws didn't even shut in the last one, did it? I got everything out on the first attempt.